The power grind in Destiny 2 is insane. If you don't know how grindy it is, I'm going to give you a breakdown right now because we are closing in on week 2 and some of the first individuals are finally hitting that max 450 power. And you might think to yourself, 450 in just 2 weeks? And this is meant to last for 6 months? Surely I'll get there in a timely fashion. You'd be surprised, okay? You'd be very surprised how long it takes to actually grind to that max power and what you have to do for it. And we'll get to that in just a moment. So it takes a ton of hours. We initially predicted about 90 hours. We were way off. It's way, way, way more than 90 hours. All right. These guys who are 450 or 445 right now, 444 and 440, they've been grinding 12 plus hours a day, basically every day, nonstop. And that's how they have accomplished this. And we're going on day, 12, 13 now? So we're day 13 into the new expansion. And they're starting to close in on that max power, that 450 power. And you might be wondering, why would they even care to grind to this power? Why would you put in so much time? Does it even matter? And Bungie did put a very spicy carrot at the end of that stick. And that's where tier 5 armor is. That's where tier 5 weapons are, or at least where you get the highest chance of getting them. Because even now, when you get 450, it's not a guaranteed chance for tier 5 drops. That's not until the Ash and Iron major update that comes out in a few months. So keep that in mind. If you are trying to grind a lot right now, it's mostly for those tier 4 drops. And is it worth it? If you really like min-maxing, absolutely. If you want your character to be really powerful, definitely. But if you're just trying to have a casual experience in Destiny 2, of course not. You know, you can just roam around, have fun, play things at your own leisure. You're not like required to get a bunch of tier 4 drops, but it'll definitely make your builds more powerful. It'll definitely make you powerful in PvP. You're doing a ton of activities right now. Everyone's doing Encore until it got disabled. And so they're doing the other exotic missions, Star-Crossed, Kellis Fall, and just farming those endlessly, farming solo ops, farming everything they possibly can, anything in the portal that drops power. Obviously, dungeons are not currently in the portal right now, but Bungie did say that they'll be added soon, which is good. And raids, I don't know what's happened with raids. They haven't even mentioned that. Now, what are the biggest problems? What is the big pain point with this power grind? Is that you can't play with your friends. Right now, I am a lowly 255 power, and my friends are over 400. So I haven't even unlocked Master or Grandmaster, which is required to play with them. So when I play with them, we don't get the shared drops. It's a waste of time for them or for me. Kind of a lame system, right? Like the whole point of the system was that you're meant to be able to play with your friends, no matter what their power level is. But instead, we've created like segregation where the high power level people cannot play with the medium power level people, and the medium power level people can't play with the low power level people. And so you just have all this like split, and it makes for an absolute nightmare when it comes to LFGs right now. If you try to LFG in Portal, you're going to run into a brick wall of not being able to play with people and actually level up properly because you're getting the appropriately graded loot after clearing it, but also having the issue of not agreeing on the modifiers and like actually speccing out for the activity appropriately, especially when you get to those higher tiered and higher difficult activities, because they actually get really tough because the modifiers they put on are insane. You're like not regaining health at the highest levels. You have no radar. I mean, it takes like so much time and energy just to kill a singular ad when you're in the Grandmaster difficulties up there. When you're at the highest levels right now, it is true suffering to try and go from 400 to 450 in the current meta and in the current sandbox. Bungie clearly must not have worked through the system in their mind. I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they thought it would take us longer to get there. I have no clue what they were cooking up, but they left this one half-baked because it is not working very well. The activities themselves, of course, are grinding a bunch of old activities, which we've criticized this a bunch of times, so no need to beat a dead horse here. But some other big pain points that you'd be surprised about is that when you get up to the higher levels, you have to keep infusing your armor, right? Where you lose the grade, like you're trying to get an A grade when you clear it. When you get up to the higher levels, it requires 7,000 of the infusion material, the new infusion material, and you only get 600 per every item you delete. So you run out really quick, and then you don't have the ability to even infuse your stuff up, meaning that you get the lower tiered loot, and then you kind of just have to grind endlessly just for materials instead of actually grinding for your power level again, creating an even crazier grind loop. And that alone, when you do actually clear those higher tiered activities, it doesn't actually give you the best drops possible. The best drops right now are from doing Crucible, weirdly enough, if you want those tier 5 drops. And you have to get the top scoring position. So you have to get like a we ran out of medals every game if you really want to level up fast and efficiently. So you have to be like a PvP god. You know, the casual players like myself and you out there watching this probably are not hitting we ran out of medals in every Crucible game that we play, right? So you're not getting those tier 5 drops. You're not getting those big loot drops that you need. So you have to stick to PvE and just getting very tiny power improvements and investing tons and tons of time, right? So that's very painful and very frustrating. It's frustrating for the LFGs. It's frustrating the leveling system. And like I said, you're doing it all just for armor and weapons and all of your power level. The last bit is that all of this will be resetting in just 6 months. So keep that in mind. Countless hours you're going to have to put in to grind from 200 up to 450 and then up to 500 after Ash and Iron. But in 6 months, it all gets reset back down, which is something that I've tried to push out as quickly as possible so that way it can grab Bungie's attention that maybe Bungie shouldn't reset us back down to 200, you know? If they are going to create some artificial power grind where we infinitely have to keep leveling up, maybe don't reset us back down as far if that's an option. I don't know, but all I know is that the power grind right now is wild and people will do it because it is something to do in the game and it is reminiscent of a more hardcore version of Destiny in some ways, but it's also just not like you're doing old activities. It's not like the most engaging way to do it, you know? We need, if we're going to do this, we need the dungeons back, like Bungie's already talked about. We need the raids back. And maybe if Bungie can bring back some of the raids and add some of the feats like they've did to the new raid, you know, maybe we can add some of those modifiers to them inside the portal. Maybe then it could be a little more interesting, you know? Then you're kind of going back and really challenging yourself, challenging your raid team, you know, getting ready for the epic raid, right? Getting ready for whatever's after that. Maybe Wrath comes back with the Plaguelands. Maybe, you know, there's going to be a raid next year, so you get lots of time to play with your clan mates, your raid teammates. That could be fun, actually. I wouldn't mind doing a bunch of contest raids and leveling up from that, like really challenging myself a bunch and maybe getting those like high tiered loot from it. But as it stands right now, grinding a ton of Encore, grinding a ton of Starcross, Kellis Fall, and sitting in the salt mines and solo playlist, not my favorite way of leveling up Bungie. Not particularly the biggest fan of it, you know? I mean, I'll do it because it's one time, but I don't know what I'm going to feel like in 6 months. And I wonder what you out there are going to feel like in 6 months. So feel free to comment now how you feel about the power grind in Destiny 2. And do me a favor and comment what you'll feel like in 6 months when you've achieved your maximum power and you get reset back after an immense grind. Now, you will need to level up each and every season or each and every 6 month cycle with this new system, unless we give Bungie enough backlash and criticism that they choose to change it, right? They obviously, you know, if people say strong enough things, they will change any system in Destiny 2. We know that much. We've seen that time and time again. But if enough people say, hey, you know, I don't mind it too much, I like having something to do, and it's better than nothing, I guess, then this is the new grind. This is the new Destiny 2. This is the new frontiers that we live in, where we just grind and grind and grind, and Bungie just keeps throwing more power levels in front of you and keeps resetting you, and you just keep grinding the same activities year after year after year. More salt mines, more more Encore year after year, sitting in the same activity until you've got, you know, 25,000 clears of every possible exotic mission and go on, so on and so forth, right? And I think that right now, as it's launching, is the best time to hit Bungie with the feedback of what's going on. So I'll be reading your comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one. Later.